Hey, what's going on, beautiful Jellyfish? Tracy, and today I'm starting a new kind of, I want to say like monthly series potentially on my channel, and it's basically where I just like talk about the state of modern. I really wanted to call this video Modern Updates because I feel like that just title made sense. However, Modern Updates is like my own personal Modern Updates where I share with you guys basically like how I'm doing in modern. But I was thinking to myself, I feel like it's kind of weird on my channel that I've never really talked about like the world of modern and what's going on in like all these tournaments and stuff like that. And now that I'm especially back to watching Magic coverage, I'm like, I really need to like get on, you know, expressing my thoughts. Also, I have been like super into podcasts recently because my commute to work is pretty long. It's like 45, 50 minutes. And it's a lot of it is like mindless like highway driving that I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, I can definitely have some background noise. And I've been kind of like, yeah, obviously I love music, but like I've been wanting to listen to podcasts. So I've been listening to a lot of podcasts recently, and which has been super awesome. And I feel like there's just been a lot of like Magic discussion, especially around modern, and I wanted to talk about it. So anyways, I'm calling this Modern State of Mind because I really couldn't think of anything better, so sorry for my lack of creative title. But I wanted to kind of talk about, I would say, like, two kind of, like, tournaments that kind of, like, happened decently recently. I wanted to get this video actually out the last week. However, unfortunately, but fortunately, Dominaria came out, which was super awesome, by the way, and so that's great. But those videos took up the entire week, so I didn't get to post about, was it GP Hartford or was it Milwaukee? I don't remember which one was first. There was Star City, Milwaukee, the Open, and then there was GP Hartford. But I want to talk about some top 32, top 8 stuff, and I kind of want to talk about like the overview in modern and like what's kind of like going on there. My laptop is like exporting videos right now and I can't touch it or else it will like explode. So it won't really explode. I'm actually just exaggerating. It's like, it's super sensitive if you try to like do anything, and I'm just like, why do you have to do this to me? Okay, so pretty much, I would say kind of where I would personally like to start is talking about the top 8 of GP Hartford, which I'll list the top 8 down below if you want to check it out. But here basically are what we got. We have Elves, sweet, Boggles, Affinity, classic, Amulet Titan, woo! Super excited about that. That is awesome. Another Boggles list. 2 Boggles in the top 5. The top 8, interesting. Burn, Ironworks combo. I'm doing a miserable job at this. And Hollow One. So one thing I think that's like super cool in GP Hartford and the Open in Milwaukee that I think is so sweet, and I think we should be extremely appreciative of the variety in the top 8. And that's kind of where I really want to start with this video, is people are like complaining. They think that modern was going to be taken over by Bloodbraid Elves, i.e. Jund and Jace, the control decks, but that's just not really happening. You will see them. Of course you're going to see Jund everywhere. It's just inevitable. You're going to see control decks. That's just gonna happen. Even if you just ban Jace today, you're still gonna see control decks. Like, when I was brewing up Grixis Control, because that's what I'm piloting in Modern right now, I was still gonna build a control deck regardless if Jace was in the format or not. Like, I actually started building my deck, actually, and, like, really collecting the cards right just as Jace got unbanned. So, realistically, him being there or not, it's not gonna change my fact. It's not gonna change the fact that I love casting control cards, so it doesn't really matter. And I think honestly, I think you could talk to a lot of control players and you would kind of, I hope, get like similar responses. And we'll actually talk about one of the control decks that made it into the top 8 in this. But I kind of want to go tournament by tournament because I think that's just going to make it a little bit easier. Anyways, so I think right now Modern is at a very healthy point, which I think is great. And I love the fact that it's not being overrun by control decks. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a control player, but like, any deck, regardless of how much I like it, I don't want it taking up, like, the entirety of the meta. I just, like, that to me is, like, when I think back to, like, Eldrazi Winter, if y'all were playing Magic back then, where really every top 8 was just Eldrazi. That is not healthy, and that is not good, and that to me is, like, a huge problem. and I don't want to talk that much about bannings, but maybe I will mention it a little bit in here, if I think there's anything potentially that should be banned in the format right now. I don't think so. I think that we're at such a good place where people are having a variety of decks, and you have like humans, which is on the horizon, which I think is super cool. I think that deck's awesome. I don't think it's unfair. I don't think Bloodbraid is unfair. Like, all these cards that people, like, argue against, like, Ancient Stirrings. Like, when I'm listening to these podcasts, a lot of people are like, Ancient Stirrings is such a heavy hitter for getting banned. And it's not because, like, the card is OP busted. I mean, listen, it's great. It's a great cantrip, probably the best cantrip in Modern, let's be completely real here. It's run in Bloom tie-in. It's, sorry, Bloomless tie-in. It is run in Tron. It is run in, Ironworks combo or eggs, however you refer to it. So it's a really popular card. It's used in a lot of decks. And I think people were like talking about that as like the whole thing. And my thing is, and I'm going to talk about this in the ban, I'm going to do a video on like the ban list. But like, I think when people see like decks like this go, like, okay, I guess we'll just talk about like Matt Nass Ironworks combo list. So like, people see that and at top 8 and everyone's like, okay, cool, we got to ban something. Chill out. Chill out. The thing about Eldrazi and why that was such an issue is, one, because everyone was playing it. And so, like, people see that and it's, like, that's not fun, like, anymore when, like, every deck you play, and, like, if you play something that's not that, it's, like, you're just gonna lose, and that was awful. And also, Ayavuga was in the format, and that was just totally busted. But the thing is someone does well at a GP, and everyone automatically points fingers that, like, something has to be banned, and I think that's just ridiculous and awful mindset to have. Honestly, we shouldn't want to look at cards to ban them. Why can't we just look at cards and be like, these cards are sweet? He top 8s with a thing, and everyone's like, we should ban it. No, relax. Nothing needs to be banned. Everything's fine. I think Modern is at one of the healthiest points that it is. And I'm super happy that Jace and Bloodbraid Elf aren't ruining the format. Like, everyone thought that it was going to be. Everyone was like, it's going to vomit everywhere, and it's going to be awful. So, yeah, anyways. I want to talk about the issues, I would say, with Ironworks combo. First off, I think this deck is super sweet. I don't think the deck is unfair to play. I think it's a very hard deck to play against. I've played against this deck, and it's very tough. Funny, actually, one of the guys that I play at Mage Sanctum, he actually is playing eggs right now, and we have to coordinate a time to, like, actually film a deck because we're gonna do it, and it actually has nothing to do with the fact that, like, we were gonna do this video before even Matt Nass, like, top 8 with this deck. He'd been playing the deck, and so we were gonna talk about it, which I think is a perfect time to talk about it now. But anyways, I think that the deck is fine. I understand where people are coming from, where it's kind of like one of those things where, like, the mindset and mentality is like, when you get to like a top 8 position, you get like all these feature matches and stuff, like, they don't want, do we really want to watch decks that like aren't interactive? Like, you know, it's fun to watch like mid-range versus mid-range, you know what I mean? Or like, I mean, honestly, I think even, like, mid-range versus control, even though control's just gonna blow up the board a ton. But, like, you know, like, there's some degree, like, you know, they'll get to do their stuff in the early game, and then there's just a supreme verdict, and then the mid-range player's like, okay, cool, like, let me play this other mid-range card. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of attempts to revamp their board. Versus, like, affinity versus control's not exciting to watch because, like, you play supreme verdict and they just never recover. Pretty much is what happens. And then you just proceed to, like, path all their stuff as the stages of the game go on. But I get the mentality of it's not fun to play against. It is very hard to play against. And it's kind of one of those things where, like, once they get the lock in, you can kind of just scoop. Like, I think it's at the point, and, like, I didn't really know that much about the deck before, like, Scrap Trawler and, like, Junk Diver and stuff were in the format. But, like, now that it's kind of like that, once you have that loop of, like, Ironworks and Junk Diver and Mox Opal and Scrap Trawler, did I say that? the combo pieces. Once you kind of get those out, it's kind of a sufficient place to be like, okay, sweet, I'm going to scoop up my cards. Now, I get why people are frustrated about that and think that infinite combos are dumb and, like, all that kind of stuff, and I get that. I mean, I think there are answers. I think, like, Surgical Extraction is going to be way more popular, if it's not already. I think it's a great sideboard card that should be in a lot of people's sideboards because it hits a lot of decks. I think people get, like, Surgical Extraction happy where they try to, like, jam it in every matchup because, like, it's good in, like, every matchup, but, like, it's not because it's good, it does something. But it's like, I'm going to play it against Jund and, like, Surgical their Tarmogoyf, but I'm like, but they're just going to kill you with, like, they're scavenging ooze. You know what I mean? It's just not as like valuable as I think people like want it to be. But against combo, it's really good because you get rid of a combo piece and it's very difficult for them to recover. Or you're playing against Tron and you like surgical Tron land them. I'm sorry this is all over the place. I feel like I'm not even going in any logical order where I was attempting to. I think in like the feature match type of setting, they want to watch decks that are really interactive, basically, that are like doing something. For like lantern control, like I don't really think like people want to see that top 8 because it's like, it's not fun to play against and it's not fun to watch because it's a very slow roll. Once you kind of get the lantern lock, depending on your matchup, because like, I'm going to talk about this when I talk about my modern updates because I played against Lantern recently, and I'm playing Grixis Control, and so I run Culligan's Command, which is a very challenging card for that deck to deal with, and so they had the lock. I mean, they did, but I was just like, I still had answers. You know what I mean? Like, I could still do stuff, so I was like, I'm not going to scoop on my cards. Like, I have a Jace on board. Like, I'm trying to ult this Jace and win, which I did, and won me the match, and so it's like, I feel like I understand why people don't want to see those types of decks because it takes a really like long time to pilot. With that being said, do I think the deck needs to be banned? I think if you see every top 8 with Ironworks combo, or Lantern Control in there like Eldrazi Winter, yes, absolutely there's something that needs to be done. However, I think Modern's at such a place right now where everyone seems to be kind of like doing their own thing. Are you going to see like, I don't know, 10% humans at GPs or whatever? Like, yeah, absolutely. And like, that's totally fair. Like, that takes up like a 10th of the meta, but like, who cares? Like, that deck's sweet. It's totally fair. They're running sweet cards. Like, you know, I just think that people just get like, they like to point fingers and be like, this card's awful. Ah, we should deal with this. And I'm like, listen, you played Magic during Eldrazi Winter. You, I feel like, have a better understanding of when cards need to be banned and why that kind of needs to happen. Another, I was gonna save that point, but I'll save it for the other one. So anyways, let's take a look at a couple more, of these kind of like top 8 lists. Sorry, I'm like on my phone again. I wish I was on my computer right now. But anyways, I'm gonna go from the bottom up because it's just where I am. Hollow One, yeah, that's super awesome. Excited to see that deck. That deck's totally fine. Yeah, it's fair. I mean, like, the thing, too, is, like, even if you have Graveyard interaction with them, they can still do their thing. Like, that's, I think, a huge thing is, like, with sideboard cards and stuff like that, and things to keep in mind, too, is, like, you know, if you have a really good sideboard card, like, are you completely shutting the deck down? Like, some decks, like Blood Moon, like, totally shuts them down. Graveyard interaction, like, you know, when people Graveyard interact, like, hate me, it doesn't murder me where I'm like, I'm never gonna recover. I mean, yeah, like my Tassigers go offline, but I still got a 4/5. I can't snap anything, but I still got a 2/1 that can be an Ambush Viper. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think the deck is fine. And it is very consistent, and I don't see kind of like the issue with that right now. Again, you're gonna see it, but yeah, it's a cool thing. I don't mind it. Burn, there's not really much to say about that. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Hartford, if I didn't already say that, the top 8. Okay, then we have 2 Boggles lists, which I think is really interesting. I don't really know. I don't have an opinion. I haven't really formed, I would say, an opinion. I honestly don't know. I don't want to say I don't know that much about the deck. Like, I know about it, but it's like, I don't know what place it's at right now. I'm not like a Boggles expert or anything, and I don't really know what's going on with that, but I'm definitely interested and decently happy to see that. I mean, I think it's a fine deck. I mean, my removal spells are all useless for that matchup, so I feel like before sideboard, my matchup is probably not really great against that. But yeah. Okay, then we have Amulet Titan, which, like, if you know anything about me, I played Titan back when Summer Bloom was unbanned, and I'm really happy to see this in the deck. I think I'm actually honestly surprised with the amount of Blood Moon running around that people are honestly adventurous enough to be playing Titan right now, and even being adventurous where the deck is so much slower now that the appeal of the deck before was it was consistent and could kill you like turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. But it's fine. I don't see any issues. Like, there's going to be people who complain about it, but it's just, it's a fine deck, and I'm happy to see it in the top 8. I think that's super exciting, and I'm a huge fan of that. Affinity, not a whole lot to say about that. I feel like you'll kind of always see Affinity popping up everywhere. Deck's totally fine, totally fair. And then, yeah, Boggles we already talked about. And then we have Elves. I'm really excited about this. This is, like, really cool. to see elves kind of make a comeback, I would say. Funny story, actually, I was organizing magic cards with my partner, and we were dismantling my elf deck. Not like I'm gonna rebuild it, because it's not a me deck at all, but I'm happy to see that. I think the deck is sweet. I think there's not a lot of people like there's not a lot of enough of the verdict decks right now. You know, there's not enough of people like me who are still playing control decks. And I think this deck is fine and fair, and honestly I think all those decks, aside from maybe Ironworks, I guess the deck is unfair, I would classify that as, but all those other decks, I mean, hey, they're doing their thing. So that's pretty much GP, Hartford. Now let's talk about, what is this? Did I say GP Hartford? Yeah, that was right, okay. I'm talking about 2 tournaments right now, and this is, like, very confusing. Milwaukee. I'm looking at the top 32 right now, and there is some good stuff in here. Let's look at top 8 first off. So, variety. In first place, we have Green Red Eldrazi. Yeah, I mean, you know, I just hate Eldrazi, and like, you know, but I still don't think, I still think there are elements of the deck that is very oppressive and very hard to interact with, but you know, even like with Eldrazi Temple, like there's enough Field of Ruins running around that I think people can kind of sufficiently deal with that. And there's also Blood Moons and things like that. So, well, actually, they're green-red, so are they playing? Let me see, is their sideboard playing it? I don't know. I've seen crazier things. I've seen people jam Blood Moon into, like, anything. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. No, they're not running Blood Moon. Okay. I don't know, man. I've seen people, run this. This is an interesting build. Yo, he's running Thragtusk in the main? Whoa, that's cool. I love Thragtusk. Thrag Daddy. That card's sweet. Anyways, then we got Burn Affinity, not a whole lot to say. I do want to talk about Jeskai Control because, and I know you're going to be like, Tracy, you're biased, you're running Control, that's why you're going to pinpoint talking about that. I'm sorry, there's really nothing interesting to say about Burn Affinity being a top 8. Like, there's really not a whole lot I can sufficiently say about that. However, this list is really interesting to me for a lot of reasons. One, because I'm a Control player, and whenever someone top 8's me, I'm like, sweet, I gotta check out your list. Because I want to see what's going on, I want to see what you're doing, and I'm just a curious cat, and that's what I like doing. So basically, is he not running Field of Ruins? Why? Oh, well, he's running Jeskai, that makes sense. Okay. I thought he was for a second I thought it was Blue-White, and I was like, why are you not running Field of Ruin? But that makes sense. Okay. This deck is really cool. I like it a lot. I think Jeskai is probably at the height of Control decks. And I'm not even talking about this with Jace in mind. He's not even running Jace in his build, which honestly respect. Like, I think that's fine. I feel like Jace is that card that now everyone thinks is an auto-include in blue decks, and I think there's some people like this who top-8'd without him who are like, no, I'm gonna prove to you that you don't need Jace, and I think it's fine. Like, I think, again, I think people are Jace happy, and like, I don't want to say I'm Jace happy, like, I just put him in my deck, and I'm like, but again, if he was banned tomorrow, I'm not gonna cry about it. I mean, yeah, I'm at like $200, which kind of sucks, but like, now I just have 2 Jaces for like EDH, I guess, like, or, you know, if they ever unban him in Modern later on, but, which is highly doubtable, but deck is sweet. I think the reason why Jeskai or Blue-White are positioned super well right now is because of the board wipes. You have access to Supreme Verdict. Settle the Wreckage is just amazing. The card is so good in Modern. I'm beyond excited about that card. I think it's amazing. So yeah, this is really sweet. I don't know how I feel about the Jace. I think it's too early on to tell in the format right now if you kind of like have to run Jace. Again, maybe you're supposed to, maybe you're not. I don't really know, in my opinion, but you know what? It's fine. He's doing his own thing, and you know, you go you. You go you. You do you. That's where we go. Humans, again, I think that deck is super sweet. Blue Moon. Ooh, whoa, I didn't see that earlier when I did that. Blue Moon, cool. I like that deck. I know a lot of people think that deck's trash, but I like it. Skeep Shift and Eldrazi Tron. Okay, cool. Again, variety. We got none of the same thing. I think that's super cool. The closest is like Eldrazi Tron versus like Green Red Eldrazi, but those are different decks and they're doing different things. So, yeah. Is there anything else I kind of want to highlight from like the top 32? Oh, there's another Ironworks combo, and there's elves. Like, I'm so excited. Like, oh, okay, yeah. That's kind of where I'm gonna, oh, there's a Death's Shadow. People are still jamming that. I love it. I love it, love it. Hey guys, so I think that was kind of it for how I wanted to kind of like wrap this video up. I just kind of wanted to talk about like general stuff about about the format, kind of like what it's looking like. I think we're at a super great spot right now, and I hope we just continue like this. I think the format was, I don't want to say the format was fine earlier because I wasn't really paying attention that much to Modern before Jace got unbanned. Like, that was right around the time that I got back into Modern, a little bit before that. And so, I don't know, guys. Like, I think we're at a good spot. I don't even, like, want to, you know, who knows, from now to July when the next ban, you know, restricted announcement happens, you know, who knows what's kind of going to go on there. But for right now, I think we're doing pretty okay, and I think there's a lot of people freaking out, and I think I get why people were, and maybe we're going to get to a point where Jace is a huge problem, where there's just, people are going to break him, and it's just going to, we may get there, but, like, we're still in the early stages of it, you know what I mean? Like, I think it takes a lot for things, decks and stuff to take off. You know, I think, like, people think that you just, like, play a deck and then, like, you play it and it's just, like, everyone's gonna, like, run flourish to that deck. And, like, yeah, like, there are times where someone, like, does, like, top 8 or, like, specifically get, like, first place in a tournament and everyone's like, whoa, this deck is super good. But then I think you run into the issue of net decking, and that's a whole nother issue, which we're going to do another video on, because I did a video on net decking and homebrews, but apparently I'm long overdue because there's just so much going on with it, and there's a lot I feel like I have to say about that. So I really want to know what you guys have to say about the format. What are you playing in Modern right now? What do you kind of like to see? Are you, like, happy with the format right now, like how it is? And it's tough, man, because, like, there's so, it's you have to think about it in terms of, like, okay, like, my local game store, what are people playing there? What are people playing at GPs? What are people playing at Opens? What are people playing in, like, you know, like, everyone's, there's such a widespread amount of things, you know what I mean? But I have to say, I can't say it enough, like, things are great right now, and I hope that we just continue in this smooth, as long as it's a variety. It can be all, I mean, I don't want to say it can be all unfair decks, but, like, there's a lot of, like, mid-range stuff going on. And, you know, honestly, I want to see more Juns. Like, I do. I have a good matchup against Jun, so I'm like, cool, play Jun, that's fine. But no, like, I want to see more people jamming Bloodbraid. Like, that's, Jun, like, never gonna go away. Even if you ban Jun, like, Bloodbraid off tomorrow, like, you're still gonna see people play that, which is totally fair. The deck just, you know, got, like, significantly better. So, yeah, I think that's it for what I wanted to say about that. Again, I really want to know what you guys have to say about it. And always, like, with Dominaria come out, I don't know how much impact that's going to have other than, like, Dampening Sphere. I think that's going to be a really very important sideboard card for a lot of people. But, yeah, that's it. I will talk to you guys in my next video next week.